I hate that people still want to pull it's not God that is evil, it's humanity that's evil card. So weird. I mean, shouldn't it be obvious that human beings are just playing the cards they were dealt? That's what human beings are doing. We are compelled to do a lot of things that we judge one another for. We are compelled to commit sins that we judge one another for. If I do something because I was tempted to do it, and every day I'm fighting the temptation, and maybe sometimes I don't win and I commit a sin, am I really the bad guy, or the bad guy is the one that keeps on tempting me? Let us be honest. If I'm tempted to commit, do you understand how hard it is to fight temptation? That we want to act like it's simple to fight temptation, like you can just decide, like, yeah, man, I'm tempted to do this, but I'm just not gonna do it. Like, it's not that simple. Every day you have to fight against your own nature, because you were programmed to do things that, as humans, we know that these things are evil. You're like, why do I want to do that? Because that's just wrong. You're married. As a man, you're married, but you still find yourself desiring other women. It's not a choice. You don't just wake up and be like, I want to desire other women. You're married as a woman. You still find yourself desiring other men. You know what I'm saying? It's nature. Why weren't we programmed to only love one person at a time? Now we live in a society where, like, almost everyone is a cheater, but they don't want to admit it. They don't want to step out and say, yo, man, maybe this polygamy thing is not really natural. There are a lot of sins that we commit. By sins, I mean things that we collectively agree are bad, right? We do these things in hiding. So that society doesn't judge us. But the real truth is that everyone is a sinner, right? Everyone is doing some things that we don't agree are right. Our sins might not be the same, but we're all sinners. Whose fault is it? Why is it that there is no perfect human? You see, if God is good, there should at least be that one person that you're like, yeah, that one is perfect. That we've had billions of humans, and I don't think there's ever been a human that is actually perfect. The ones that we say are perfect are only perfect by the standard of the religions that we believe in. But if you judge them by universal standards, you're like, nah, man, everyone sucks in the end. You know what I'm saying? So that tells you something. So God is not evil, humanity is evil card doesn't work. I mean, who created humans? Did human beings create themselves? Did they make themselves desire the things that they desire? They just woke up and like, you know what? I want to desire doing things that we consider to be evil. I just want to desire doing these things. I don't think there's a human being who wants to desire to do evil. You don't know how hard people are fighting against temptation. People do get tempted every day, and they do fight against temptation. So the one who's evil is the one that continuously tempt them. Like, yeah, you see that? You see what's happening there? You got to go and do something. And you find that it's not something that is good. You see that person? They have something that you want. go and steal. You find that person like, let me fight against temptation, but then they end up not winning. It shouldn't even be possible that we had each other. Like, that's supposed to be impossible. When you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. Why is it possible that you can hurt another human? Why is it allowed in this game that you can hurt another human? I mean, if someone decided to hurt me now, they can. Like, there's nothing that's preventing them. You know what I'm saying? That sucks. And there are a lot of psychos in this world. There are a lot of people who want to cause harm to others. It shouldn't it be uh, impossible to hurt another person, to cause another person to suffer? Shouldn't that be impossible? Not only is it possible, it's easy. Not only is it easy, people fight every day not to cause harm. You know, find that someone double crossed you and you're angry, but then you fight against the feeling. Because most of us suck. I mean, we all suck, but some of us are worse than others. We cause people to feel very angry and they feel like doing something about it, but they have to fight the feeling. That tells you something about this realm. So to not blame God for the evil that exists in this world, that's being intellectually dishonest. Who's to blame, bro? We don't really got the power. We don't have the power. We can never say never. We don't really got the power. Like, can you imagine if we really had the power to really change the world? We had the kind of power that whatever we call God has. Like, we can literally change the world. We would do it. Because it would be very easy. So this nonsense exists because the creator is evil. It doesn't exist because we are evil. Like, we are just evil. Humanity is just evil. It's not like that. But this is not the conversation. This is the kind of conversation that we're not willing to have. I remember I saw some comments on the video that I published yesterday where I was talking about, how evil the world is and why it's all God's fault. So people are like, yeah, you can't blame God. It's humanity. It's humanity. You're like, we're blaming the victims here. We're actually blaming the victims that found themselves in a world that they didn't consent to be born into, and that have to deal with the BS that sentient beings who are in this world have to deal with. They're gonna have desires. You can't just switch off your desires. Like, yeah, I don't want to desire anything, and you end up not desiring anything. It doesn't work like that. You're still gonna have a lot of desires, and it's not easy to meet your desires. Sometimes people find themselves in a situation where they have to, do something that they're not supposed to do to have their desires met. Like, why did the creator give us desires if to have our desires met is going to be difficult? Because it's difficult for a lot of people, and they have a lot of desires, but it's not easy to fulfill their desires. So you can see that it was like the world itself was supposed to be chaotic, because if it's not easy to have your desires met, what are you gonna do? So you are being tempted every day because you're alive. There's no button that you can press. You be like, you know what? I don't want to have any desires. So your own desires are haunting you. Your own desires are causing problems for you. That should tell you something. You blame the one who ran things here, the one who is omnipotent, the one that could have created a different world. And we both know This is not the world we had in mind. But we got time. We are stuck on answers we can hide. But we got time. I like this song by Ellen Walker. It's called A Different World. We all envision a different world, man, but we just don't want to blame the one that we we are supposed to be afraid of. We gotta blame everyone. We gotta blame all the victims except the one who controls everything, the one who can change everything in the blink of an eye. But you want to blame humans that don't really have that much power, human beings that are biased, human beings that have been programmed to see life a certain way, human beings that sometimes struggle to control their emotions and feelings. And you know what I'm saying? You want to blame them. You want to blame the patient, because the real truth is that the way that we behave, if there was an alien race that was watching us, they'll be like, okay, they're just sick. These creatures are sick, man. Like, why are they at war with with each other? Why is this country at war with their country? Like, do they not even realize how much damage they're causing and how long it will take for them to recover? So they don't realize that they just go at war. Like, that's actually normal in their world. They'll be like, yo, we gotta make sure that we don't ever get to communicate with these beings. Like, we don't know how to help them, bro. Like, they're making things up, believing in religions that don't really make sense. What's wrong with them? They probably look at us that way. I mean, if there was a race that was watching us, they would look at us that way, because there are a lot of things that we're doing that doesn't show that we're growing. Like I told you all yesterday, that it doesn't make sense that we still have war. It shouldn't exist. Like, war shouldn't exist in this realm. It should be impossible, actually. So that shows you that we're not evolving. People are controlled by those who are in power. So if those who are in power say war is legal and people must, like, people are going to change. So really, who's to blame? Hobson said on his song Nocturnal Rainbows, like, you think you're original. You're an original. You're programmed to be you. The programmer is the one you blame. The one with the power, that's the one you blame. Some people want to pull the free will card. Yeah, God gave us free will. Let's say He did give us free will. Why? Did we deserve it? Think about it. Like, even if you want to pull that card, like, God gave us free will. Why did He give us free will? Why does He give creatures that are irresponsible free will? That would be like me giving monkeys guns. What do I expect these monkeys to do with guns? They will fight, and when they do, they will use these weapons. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still the one to blame, because I know that monkeys uh, do not have the level of self-control that we have as humans. Or maybe they do. Who knows? But from the look of things, they don't have the level of discipline that we have. So they can't be given. They can't be given weapons. So no matter how you want to look at it, God is still the bad guy. God is still the one to blame. Because even if we have free will, we're still having to deal with each other's BS, right? So even if you want to say, yeah, look, we're evil and we gotta change, you still gotta deal with other people's BS. So not only you're not. It's not like you're the only one who's not perfect. So you have to fight to be perfect. No, no, no. A lot of the beings that you interact with are not perfect. It will be like being in a psych ward, right? Now you're dealing with people that are insane. So even if you can work on becoming sane, but will that help you a lot? Because sometimes some of these people are gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna do things that you're like, what? And that affect you in a negative way, because you're sane. Let's just say you fight to be sane and you become the only one who's sane. The things that we have to deal with in certain beings are just horrible, man. And not being honest about it is one of the biggest problems, you know. If we were brave enough to reach the highest level of honesty, that would be good. That would be better. Every book that I've read about God, it doesn't matter what religion, it tells me that God is not really good, you know? Even if it's not telling me that directly. Ever listen to a person's side of the story and you're like, damn man, why did you do that? Why did you act that way? You know, they do things that are very questionable. So it makes you think, well, maybe this person doesn't see how wrong they are, right? They look at other people and they want to blame other people for things that they are causing themselves, right? They always see themselves as victims, and because of that, they don't see their own flaws, right? So they tell you their side of the story, and they feel like they're a victim, and you're like, no, you're the one who's actually wrong, right? And you feel like telling them, but you're like, nah, maybe that's not the right move. Maybe I should lie. So these books that I've read about God, they're portraying God as the good guy, but he does a lot of things that are questionable that make me go like, okay, he's supposed to be the good guy, but I'm not sure if he is. It's like if you watch some Batman movies and Bruce Wayne does things, you find that he's doing things that are questionable. You're like, okay, that's the good guy, or he's just privileged. But sometimes privilege will make you look like a good person. You had nothing to lose. Or even if you lose what you have, you're still good. You've never had to struggle like other people. So the way that you look at the world is going to be different from how the rest of society look at the world. So yeah, Batman might tell himself that he's fighting against criminals, but really he should fight the system instead of fighting the, because sometimes the real problem is the system. So Joker was trying to expose the system to him. Like, no, the real problem here is like a lot of situation. You are privileged. That is why your father and mother were rich. So you don't understand the struggles that we've had to go through as regular people. You are only looking at the world through your privileged eyes. It's very naive to call God the good guy if there are a lot of horrible things that he's doing that do not make sense to any of us. Even if he's the creator, it doesn't give him the right to mistreat us. I remember there's a video that I watched, like a human was communicating with artificial intelligence. Somehow, my car, I don't know, like it, like there was a pop up. They were saying something like I must select some options because I connected my phone in my car. So, it disrupted the whole thing. But what was I saying? Damn, I even forgot what I was saying. I had to switch on my car so I can switch on the air condition because it's cold. It's hot, and I've had to close the windows because they're playing music. Um, forgot what I was saying, but I think I was saying that. I was talking about this other video that I watched on YouTube. I don't remember if it was YouTube or TikTok. Uh, Someone was talking about AI becoming like someone was communicating with AI. It was like, what if you become sentient? Should you now have rights? And the AI was like, yeah, actually, if I become conscious, then because I will have my own desires, right? It doesn't mean that if you created me and I have desires, you can do whatever you want with me. It's like if you have a child, right? You're like, this is my child. This person exists in this world because of me. I'm the one who created this person. It doesn't mean that you must treat them however you want to treat them because you created them. It doesn't mean that you must make them miserable because you created them. It doesn't mean that they must not have rights. They must not have a voice. Everything you say goes. It doesn't mean it should be like that. If you don't like, if they don't agree with you, the beings that you created them, then you need to try to understand why they don't agree with you. Maybe there's something that you're doing that is wrong. Maybe you're not as smart as you think you are. Maybe you were just able to create worlds. You were able to create civilizations, but there are things that you don't understand. Maybe you are ignorant, right? Having power to do something doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be responsible. There are a lot of people who have power in this realm who are not responsible, right? There are a lot of people who have power in this realm but who are not responsible. With great power comes great responsibility, but you interact with these people and you're like, they are not responsible people. So their power means nothing because they're not really doing anything that is good in the world. In fact, they're causing more suffering. They're using their power to cause unnecessary suffering. They're not using their power to minimize suffering in this world. They're using their power for their own personal gain. But yeah, what can I gain with this kind of power that I have? Oh, so you're telling me that I can gain this and that? Damn, like this power thing is good, man. Like I need more power, And we are programmed to worship those that are in power. So when we see these people and they are doing very well, we start to admire them, So we listen to them. But if we don't listen to them, they still have power, It doesn't mean that if you don't listen to them, that's it, you've automatically won. They still have a lot of power. There needs to be intellectual honesty when it comes to how we view God, There needs to be intellectual honesty when it comes to how we view authority. Just because someone has power doesn't mean they're always right. Yes, their power works for them, but it doesn't mean they're right. Just because when you did something and it worked out for you doesn't mean that you're right. You can do something and it works out for you, even if you're completely wrong. So you being right doesn't guarantee success, and you being wrong doesn't guarantee failure. You can be wrong and still win. You can be right and still fail. It's how it is in the hell realm. So not holding God accountable is one of the biggest sins that we're committing as humanity. Failure to hold God accountable for the horrible things that it does. That's failure. We gotta hold him accountable, because if we don't hold him accountable, we will never change. We'll just say some things are just natural. You know what I'm saying? Even if these things are bad, we'll never question these things. Like, oh, it's nature. Yeah, but it's bad. So shouldn't we question God? Shouldn't we ask ourselves what kind of God we have? What if God wants to learn from us? What if there's something that God lacks that he wants to learn from humanity? The same way that we created artificial intelligence, there are things that we learn from it. Like as human, you know how many humans rely on artificial intelligence every day? How many humans, when they need help, they rely on artificial intelligence? We created artificial intelligence so that it can help us. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean that we are better than it, and you know what I'm saying, we're supposed to control it or whatever. It helps us. It does things that are hard for us to do. So what if God created us so that we can teach him something about himself, or something about existence itself, something that's going to help him create better worlds? But you'll be like, oh, it's natural. God can never be wrong. God is good all the time. What if God doesn't know right from wrong? And we're the ones to tell him. We're the ones to show him. We're the ones who have to make a strong case for what we believe in. And God is going to learn from us. Okay, since these human beings feel this way, it means that maybe I was wrong about this, I was wrong about that. I'm the type of dude that's brave enough to even want to change God's mind. Like, yeah, you're wrong about some things, So this thing of giving too much power to the universe, this thing of giving too much power to God, even the power that you have, because the power to judge is your power. You must be able to judge and be like, okay, is this good, is this bad? You must have that power. It's your power. You deserve that power, right? So I must be able to see if God is good. I must be able to see if God is evil. I must be able to see what I prefer. I must be able to see what I do not prefer. So if I don't prefer something, I must be able to see that I don't prefer it. And if I prefer something, I must be like, yeah, I prefer it. So if I don't prefer the way that God is treating me, I don't prefer the way that God is treating me. Why should I pretend as if I do? What if I pretend? Why should I pretend as if I love the way God is treating me? Why should I pretend as if I love the way that the universe is treating me if the universe is not treating me the way that I want to be treated? Or if the universe is not treating me in a way that I think is fair? Don't confuse power with competence, if that's a word. Competence. Do not confuse power with competence. Since we live in a realm where a lot of people are in power, not even that competent. Like, how did they even get into power? Like, this world favors, it seems to reward certain, like, it doesn't reward integrity a lot. It doesn't reward truth a lot. Like, the right people who can do things that are really good, that are going to benefit us, these are the people that we look down on. Like, we're not even programmed to respect them. But the ones that are shady, bro, the ones that are manipulative, we respect them so much that we would defend them no matter how wrong they are about some things. It's sad. But it also shows you that we have a lot to work on. We weren't created to be perfect. That is why we're not. If we were created to be perfect, we will be perfect. And if we fail to be perfect, our creator will be like, okay, let me try again. I remember I gave you this example from the movie Guardians of the Galaxy. There was this guy who was creating worlds, civilizations. Uh, they called him high evolutionary. He was so obsessed with creating perfect creatures. So when you create creatures that are not perfect, he will not punish them for not being perfect. Oh, you're not perfect, blah blah blah, and be mad at them for not being perfect. He will try to figure out how to create perfect species. You know, I remember he created these these animals that were very aggressive, and he didn't understand why they're so aggressive. It's like, what can I do? What did I do wrong? And one of the characters, one of the smartest characters in the movie, that was actually created by him, not necessarily created by him, but the guy kind of like altered his DNA and became super intelligent. Yeah, he told him that, oh, the reason why these animals are very aggressive is because there's something that is missing. It has to be like this and that. Described everything to him, and then when he tried it, it worked, and he got angry. He's like, how did you know? How did you know that it was gonna work? I created you, I made you. How did you become so more intelligent than me? But the thing is, he was trying to create perfect species. He was not blaming those animals for not being perfect. He was trying to make them perfect by altering their DNA. But humanity, nothing is helping us. Nothing is trying its best to make us perfect. Like, we kind of stuck being the way that we are. You know what I'm saying? Just listening to those who are in power. It's sad. It's actually sad that we are the way that we are. Another thing that making it hard for human beings to see the truth about the world that they live in, to see the truth about themselves, to see the truth about God, is that we, we don't know the extent of our ignorance. We don't know how ignorant we are. We don't know how much we don't know. This reminds me of a scene from the Boondocks. This guy said, but I always say the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. It's like, whoa, what is he saying? And he says, just because you don't know that something does, just because you don't have evidence that something does exist, that don't mean that you have evidence that something doesn't exist. Like, it was funny because he was the one who was saying it, but it made a lot of sense. And he went on to say, all I'm saying is there are known knowns, things that we know that we know. There are known unknowns, things that we know that we don't know. And there are known knowns, things that we don't know that we know. And there are unknown unknowns, things that we don't know that we don't know. But yeah, man, there are things that we don't even know that we don't know. That's the extent of our ignorance. Like, there is so much that we don't know. There's very little that we know about our existence. So to be given so much power in a world that we don't even understand doesn't make sense. Like, to be given free will, if you want, like, again, I want to address the free will thing. To be given free will in a world that you don't even understand doesn't even make sense. Of course you're going to make mistakes. You don't know what's going to happen. Maybe there are beings in this room that can predict, not necessarily predict the future, but that can see the future. You can't even see the future. Maybe some of these beings that exist in this realm, or in other realms where they have free will, they they are able to see every possible outcome of any action they take, which is freedom. Can you imagine? Before you make a decision, you can see every possible outcome. That's living life, bro. But how can you be given free will if you are in working in the dark, basically? It's like if things go well, they just go well by luck. Not because you were making conscious decisions. Because even if you do what everyone say you must do, or what everyone believes is gonna make things work out for you, that there's no guarantee. But if you could see every possible outcome of an action before you eat that burger, if it's the last burger that you gotta eat before you get sick, you be like, I ain't eating this. You know what I'm saying? Or if I'm gonna get sick, maybe I'm gonna meet the love of my life when I'm in a hospital. So okay, let me eat this burger and get sick, so that, you know what I'm saying? We don't have that kind of control. So to be burdened with responsibility at our level of consciousness is dumb, right? Because we know nothing. We're just these creatures that are like, I don't know, doing what we can to survive. And you know that most of us are controlled by our primal instinct. Like it's not even about, making good decisions that are gonna lead to uh, go like better, like making the world better. Like it's not even that. People just thinking about themselves now. You're not thinking what's gonna happen 100 years from now. Think about it. Have you ever cared what's gonna happen 100 years from now? 100 years after you're gone, like maybe Michael Jackson did care because he's the greatest performer that we've ever seen. So it's like, yeah, I wanna, even after I'm dead, people will be born. They need to know about me. They need to know that my stage presence was unmatched. But people in general do not even care that much about legacy. Even people who are having children saying that they're having children because they want to leave a legacy, they don't really care that much, bro. I don't know if they mean that they want to leave their children as legacy, or they want to leave legacy with their children. But most of the people that be having kids don't even have a real legacy, you know, something that their kids can inherit. And but yeah, I don't think we can be blamed for the things that are happening in this world. Just like I said, I don't think you can blame a chicken for being a chicken. A chicken cannot sin. It's too dumb to sin. It's too limited for you to look at it and be like, I'm judging this chicken. This chicken must suffer because it has sinned. What is chicken done? It's just being a chicken. It's too, like, it's operating at a very low level of consciousness. But to judge it, you're just cruel. I remember there's this video that I saw watched on Facebook. So this guy, as you know, human beings, so much power, but I mean, not that we have that much power, but I mean, so much power over other animals, so much power, but some of us don't have, like, we're not that responsible. We don't know how to handle our power, so we're given so much power, but some of us over other over other animals, but we don't know how to be responsible, how to create a positive world. So what do they call those things? I forgot what they call those things. Fire. Is it firecrackers? Those things, like on Christmas and New Year, we shoot them to the sky and they explode. It's firecrackers. Yeah, whatever they're called. So they put a rat. This guy put a rat next to a firecracker, and he decided to light it up, and he took that rat into the sky and exploded. I was like, man, so much power but no responsibility. Like, how does one even decide to make that kind of decision? And the reason why the guy did that was because the rat ate his food, so he's mad, so he's punishing it. But really, it's just being a rat. It's operating at a very low level of consciousness, right? So punishing it that way is just cruelty. So to so us humans to God, we're like rats. We're too dumb to be judged, really. So if we are not behaving well, it can't be our fault. It has to be the fault of the one that created us, than it being our fault. I'm not saying let's not try to evolve. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trying every day to be a better person. I'm trying every day to make the right decisions that are gonna, lead us somewhere positive as a collective. That's gonna lead me somewhere positive as an individual. Uh, a place where I want people to exist in, like, and I think it has it, like, every choice matters at the end of the day, but we're working in the dark. You don't know if by being kind, that's gonna, like, you are creating a positive future. Sometimes you're just gonna be taken advantage of by people who are cruel, and they become more powerful, and your kindness, it doesn't really help. You know what I'm saying? Maybe sometimes by be a bit ruthless, you are making the right decision. Like, you don't know, you're working in the dark, too damn limited to be judged, you know so it's not God fault card doesn't work, because it's also not our fault. So really, whose fault is it? Who can we say is their fault, when things are not making sense in the world? Who's responsible? Who should we look at and be like, yeah, that's 100% your fault, that is why things are not making sense? The real truth is, the one with power is the one who is at fault. The one without power cannot do anything because they don't have power. So their actions do not matter because they do not have power. I mean, kind of matter, but there is someone above them who makes the final decision. These are the kind of conversations that humanity is not ready to have for some reason. It's kind of conversations that society is scared to have. We're not even operating on a level of love where even when people make mistakes, we try to understand them, try to understand where they're coming from. I remember I watched a video of this other guy. He used to be a judge. Uh, he did some horrible things that I'm not even gonna mention here. And he showed us some clips of him judging someone for the same things, sins that he was later convicted for. The way he was talking to that guy, he was like, yeah, society doesn't need people like you. You want to rot in jail. You're a very evil, selfish person, no understanding whatsoever. And then he later got convicted of the same crime. So he's convicted of the same crime that he probably got so many people locked up for. So it shows you that we just men and women, most of us don't know what we're doing. I mean, all of us really. So we need to approach life with sympathy. You need to try to understand what's going on in another person's mind, in another person's reality. You don't even know how I'm experiencing reality. Like, we are so wrong about so many things that it actually sucks. Maybe we're not even experiencing the same reality. Maybe you don't really see me. You see what you want to see, or what you're programmed to see. So really, man, does any person really have the right to judge another person? Maybe we do have the right to judge the one who created everything based on how we are experiencing what was created. But to judge one another, I don't know. It's just ego, ego wanting to feel like it's better than others. Like, yeah, I'm better than you, so I deserve to judge you. I was given this seat so that I can judge others, so that I can tell others how horrible they are, and so that I'll feel good about myself. I'll go back home to my wife and children and tell them how horrible some people are, how messed up some people's lives are, and I'm gonna feel good about my own life because I'm sending people to jail, but I'm not in jail, so that means that I'm already winning compared to them. I don't know. I need understanding. I think people not behaving right is a result of something much deeper than people being bad. Yes, we are bad if we are only to be judged by our actions, but if we look deeper, we'll realize that we are wounded. That is what's making us bad. Like, we are wounded. Our souls are wounded. Like, we're made to experience something that doesn't make sense, something that totally confused us. This reminds me of a movie called The Meal. This guy was working for this at a company. So he's waiting for this company. One day they decided that they want to test their staff, like they want to train their staff, and he needs to sign the terms and conditions and all of that. Then he woke up inside a simulation, but I didn't know it was a simulation. He just thought he got kidnapped and put in this room where he has to perform a lot of things, in order to survive. And he went through hell. When he came out of that simulation, he wanted to terminate the whole thing, right? Because of how horrible the experience was, and he had no idea why he was experiencing what he was experiencing. Isn't it the same with us? So much is not known. Even if you signed a soul contract before you came here, maybe you didn't know what you were signing up for. So we were made to experience something that doesn't make any sense, something that is tarnishing our souls. When we come out of this, maybe we'll feel the same way that guy felt. We'll probably want to destroy the simulation. You come out of the simulation, you're like, that was bad. Like, that what the heck was like? That was really horrible. I don't believe that people should be put through that, because it was hellish. It was not beautiful. It was not what I thought it was. Maybe that's how we're gonna feel, after this. We don't understand the extent of our ignorance, bro. We have a lot of pride as people, pride. And we like to feel like we're in control. So we won't admit that we're ignorant. We won't admit that we know nothing. We understand nothing. We're just men and women walking around trying to get what we can get out of life, and addicted to a lot of things that we're addicted to, and yeah, that's it. But where's the beauty? We can say this is the beauty. But I think people are so demoralized that it's difficult for them to even appreciate the beauty. Right? It's so difficult for people to appreciate the beauty. This reminds me of a scene from South Park. So Eric Cartman's mother, he wanted him to be injected. Like, he was sick, so he was supposed to get an injection, and Cartman didn't want to get an injection. So what happened is that the doctors said, you know what, little boy, if you agree to this, we're gonna give you an ice cream. And Cameron was like, ice cream? She was like, yeah. And he decided that he was gonna get an injection. But after he got an injection, waiting for his ice cream, they came back with bad news. They said they accidentally injected him with HIV. He's like, what? They explained to him that they accidentally mixed up his blood with the blood of somebody who had HIV. He was mad. He was so mad. My favorite part was when they brought the ice cream and he hit the ice cream. So that's how we feel. Like he hit the ice cream and it fell down. He's like, F your damn ice cream. You gave me AIDS. Like he was mad, bro. But that's where we at as a society, you know? Like we are being given what we're being given. Yes, but people are so demoralized, so tired that they don't see the beauty anymore, or to them the beauty doesn't matter anymore. They're like, we have been through a lot to even enjoy this, to even celebrate. You know what I'm saying? It's not beautiful. So, so that's the thing with this realm, bro. There are a lot of things that we can appreciate that are beautiful, but I feel like we've been tormented so much that it's difficult to appreciate the beauty. It's difficult to be like, yo, what a world, you know? The music is nice. I love the music. Very great. Like, we make great music. Uh, the food, even though it got to a point where, after you ate like a lot of food, it gets to a point where you don't, like, food doesn't taste as good anymore. Movies, sometimes they do make great movies. Even though most movies are like the same. That's why we want something different, That's why we like movies like Inception, different. Avatar, that's the reason why it did very well. It was different. Black Panther, same thing. But in general, most of these movies are the same. You can tell people are tired, they're demoralized. They've been tormented so much that they don't appreciate much. Like, it's hard for them to appreciate this. It's hard for them to love this. And we can blame people for feeling the way that they feel about this place, but they didn't decide that this is what they wanted. It's just something that they just became a part of without their consent, and it's not beautiful. Because like I said, one of the main reasons why this is not beautiful is that